Hi, welcome to the video. So I just want to go over Daniel 9:27 and hoping that I go over that you'll see the nice continuity and flow in the timeline. There's no gaps or no breaks or anything like that you typically hear from most people today and scholars. So one thing I want to point out, basic rules of grammar is extremely important. If my theology does not fit basic rules of grammar, then it is contrary to the author's intent. All right, notice I said author's intent. Everybody, no matter what view you hold, everybody can quote unquote use scripture to back up their view. But the question is it according to the author's intent? So, verse 25, it says, the anointed one, the prince. That is the main subject here. That is Messiah the prince. Right, Messiah means anointed. Right, so this prince here, you should just go by basic rules of grammar. It's the same prince as here. The grammar does not allow to substitute this with Antichrist or Titus or any other things. This prince, according to basic rules of grammar, it's the same print that talk about here, Messiah the prince. All right. Often what happens is people don't understand how these two go together, so they go off on a tangent and break the basic rules of grammar of the scripture. And once you do that, you have created confusion. So it's best if you don't understand how these two go together, it's best just to leave it alone for a while and just sit on it for a while until it comes to you. And so that's what I've done. So so this is Messiah the Prince, and I explained in my video what's actually going on here. Basically, the people here that talk about are the Jews who rejected Christ. Okay, these are the same people that are responsible for the murder of Christ, where he cut off. That's the murder of Christ. These same people that are responsible. Now, did they physically nail him to the cross? Physically, no, but they were responsible for it. The same way here, the same people that are responsible for that. They're the ones that are responsible for the destruction of the city and sanctuary. How so? These same people chose not to continue to pay in taxes. They chose, or they took over the Masada, which ticked off Nero, and they also stopped sacrifices for foreigners, Caesar, and that was the final straw for Caesar. All right, that was the custom back then to do. So I have that in the timeline here. I'll show you later. So anyway, that sort of sets up the stage. So basically, what verse 26 is telling us is that the murder takes place, all right, and then it results in judgment 40 years later, all right. It's not saying take this entire 40-year period and cram it into the 70th week. That's not what the text is saying. And that's what a lot of people do. They try to shift or put a gap and try to shift the 70 week over to here. Or they split the 70th week down the middle. They try to shift it over here. And the text does not require that. You got the murder take place inside the 70th week of Jesus in AD 30. It results in judgment 40 years later. All right. So, which produces the consummation. All right, the consummation does not take place inside the 70th week. All right, so moving on to verse 27, and I'll go to the timeline in a little bit so you can see the continuity flow. There's no gaps or breaks in it. And he shall confirm a covenant of many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause sacrifice and offerings to cease, and upon the wing of abomination shall come one that maketh desolate, and even unto the full end, and that determineth shall wrath be poured out upon the desolate. So, the one that makes desolate was Eleazar. And, so he makes it all the way. He was in the temple for a while, and then he must have fled right before the temple destroyed, right along with the stick of Judah, if you will. The people are of the stick of Judah. There were the Jews who came to Christ who were in Judea, who were in Jerusalem, who were at the temple. All right? So he must have fled along with them, and he escaped to the Masada, whereas the stick of Judah would have gone to Petra, I believe. So, so anyway, he's the one that makes desolate, and even unto the full end, that is at the Masada, okay? That was in AD 73, all right? The destruction of the temple was AD 70, but the full end was AD 73. You have to understand they're people of the desolate, and those were the Jews who rejected Christ, all right? And there were still some at the Masada in AD 73, and they were destroyed, and that was the full end. And that determined shall wrath be poured upon the desolate. So let's just walk through this verse in a timeline fashion, all right? So, and he shall make firm, and that's the better translation, by the way, make a firm, okay, many from a week. So we go to the 70th week. So this is the 1 week right here. AD 26 to AD 33, he makes it firm. How did you do that? You have the first half, you have Jesus' ministry. Without his ministry, you could never establish the new covenant. I mean, you could, okay, but they need the teachings of Christ. It's 3.5 years to make it firm. And then the second half, where people actually enter into the covenant. There's some that enter the covenant here by the power of the Father, Matthew 16 and Matthew 18. But then this is really where many came in the new covenant, making it firm. If, let's say, Jesus had a ministry and he died on a cross and not a single person entered the covenant, it would not have been made firm. I hope that makes sense to you. So, in other words, the temple could be destroyed, but if nobody entered the covenant, then the new covenant had never been made firm. So that's what meant by making firm here. All right. So, and he shall confirm the covenant many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause sacrifice and offering to cease. That's right in the middle right here. All right. So that's it, due to his sacrifice seed. Hebrews 9:26 confirms that, where the consummation of the ages put away by the sin of the sacrifice of himself. All right. So that was right there. What consummation? What ages? The ages of the sacrifices. It no longer holds any value. All right. And so the seed, and then continuing on, so it goes from green to red, and continues on to verse 27, and on the wing of abomination. So there's no break, there's no gap. So from that point forward, after perfect sacrifice made, those who continue to sacrifice were the ones who were more loyal to Caesar. He said, "We have no king but Caesar." All right, so these are the ones that rejected Christ. They rejected the gospel during these 3.5 years. And so they were more loyal to Caesar. So either you're loyal to Caesar or Christ during this time. One or the other. There's no in between. All right. So then on the wing of abomination. So no, there's no gap. There's no breaks in there. It just did a continuous flow to it. Okay. So and on the wing of abominations. All right. We're going to continue with that verse. We're going to continue going forward. Continuing on and on the wing of abominations. It's still going on. Okay. Continue going forward. No gap. Okay. Again, on the wing of abominations will come one who makes desolate. Bam. Stops right there. That's when the lawless one was revealed. That was Eleazar. He's the son of Ananias, the high priest. And so Eleazar was the Sagas, which is somebody who had power over the temple. He was the governor of the temple. So he is the one who makes desolate. All right. All right. And then continuing on, and the people of the prince, continue on verse 27, and the people, that's the Jewish people right here. So if we read this here, you got Jews did not pay their tribute taxes. So how did the people of the prince who come destroy the sanctuary? So it explains right here. Jews did not pay their tribute taxes, Caesar, cessation sacrifice to Caesar, and Jude took over the Messiah. The combination of these things, the three things, led to, and then you see the blue line here, and there's a break. You go up here, and the reason there's a break is to get around all this text here. And then Nero declared war on Jerusalem. Boom. And then that's when the order of destruction of the temple takes place under Vespasian. All right. So that's how they were responsible for destroying the city of the sanctuary. Okay. And the people of the prince, that's Christ, that's still Messiah the prince. All right. The people were the Jews who rejected him. He's the one that Jesus came for. Okay. He came for his own, and his own received him not, right? So destroy the city and sanctuary, all right? Continuing on, its end shall come with a flood, okay? That flood started right here, okay, where the Roman army, they stormed in on the evening of April 10th, or Nisan 15, that evening, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And that's when the Roman soldiers stormed in. That's when the Jews who denied Christ in the flesh had their guard down. The Jews who already came to Christ, the stick of Judah, if you will, per Ezekiel 37, they had already fled that Thursday afternoon. That's what this green line is here. All right? And then you have the final 1260 days on earth. Revelation 12:6. This was from April 11th, AD 73 to September 22nd, AD 70. I'm sorry, April 11th, AD 70, to September 22nd, AD 73. Okay? And so with a flood, and to the end there should be war, desolations are decreed. Okay? And so, remember earlier, it says in that verse, the very end, the very end, to the full end. All right? So the destruction of the temple was not the full end. It marked the end of an age, okay, just like Jesus said, but it was not the full end. So the lawless one, Eliezer, she just dashed line. That's indicating where he was. So he was at the temple during his time, and then apparently in those 45 days he did something. It's probably parallel to Aaron. Sacrificing pigs, or no, not Aaron. There's somebody else, a high priest, during the destruction of the temple, around 160 BC, around there. He probably did something that's similar to that. Something that was the final straw. That was profanity of worship, put it that way. And he had power and control over the temple this whole time. All right. So then he must have fled right along the stick of Judah, but stick of Judah would have gone to Pella, just this green area here, but Eliezer went to Masada instead. So even until a complete destruction one is poured out on the one who makes desolate. The one here who makes desolate is Eliezer. All right, that's the end of verse 27. So what he do to make desolate in here, he gave a speech, which resulted in mass suicide. So if you go to 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 8, and then he shall be revealed the lawless one, okay? That shall be revealed the lawless one, that was back in August 14th, 1866. You go back to here, right here, August 14th, 1866, he was revealed. Okay, when his dad died, the restrainer, his dad was the restrainer. Okay, and whom the Lord Jesus shall slay with the breath of his mouth. Whose mouth? Is actually referring to the lawless one's mouth. Okay, so Jesus slay with the breath of Eliezer's mouth. So basically, what came out of Eliezer's mouth under the working of power of Satan. Okay, so obviously Jesus does not work under the power of Satan. Okay. Eliezer was, okay, that's why his is referring to the lawless one, all right? And so, the basic rules of grammar allow that, yes. The word here, his, can refer to either subject, one or two. You have to figure it out. Is it referring to Jesus or the lawless one? And I think we all know Jesus not work under the working of Satan. Eliezer, on the other hand, the lawless one, yes, he would have been working under the power of Satan. All right, so, and lying wonders. So I don't think that's consistent with the character of God. Okay, so anyway, and deceit and righteousness perish. Deceit. That's not an attribute of God. All right, contrary to nature of God. So that hopefully you understand his mouth is referring to the lawless one. Okay, so yeah, so he gave a speech. Documented Josephus, and that resulted in mass suicide. Okay, So here's another time that's just more a simplified version. It's the same timeline we just went over. On the wing, one to make it desolate, and show till complete destruction was decreed and poured out on the one elder, the last one who makes desolate, Okay. Hope that makes sense. But I hope you notice that there's no breaks, no gaps. The only break I mentioned to you was this vertical line. That's just to get around this text here. But your typical scholar today, their timeline is not like that. They have breaks in there, or put in a gap, or there's no continuity of flow. And hopefully you can appreciate the verse, what's actually going on here. It's just a continuation, one thing to another. Now, is it saying take all of verse 27 and cram it into that 70th week? No. And a lot of people try to do that. And they try to make the consummation happen inside that 70th week. It's just unfortunate that people do that. And some, like I said, some people put a gap inside that 70th week and they shift the second half over, and that's just not required by the text. The 70 weeks results in all these things. 70 weeks are decreed to accomplish all these things. It's not telling you that all these things get crammed inside the 70 weeks or inside that 70th week. It's nothing in the text requires that. For example, some people think that seal vision of property, that has to happen inside the 70th week. That's not what the text is saying at all. The 70 week results in this happening. Due to the murder of Christ results in judgment, and the sealing up vision prophecy it results in consummation. The house of Israel, their final days. After they left Earth, there's no more vision prophecy needed. They're gone. There's not a single person alive today who has 100% Jewish blood. The house of Israel is gone. Some people might have some Jewish blood in them, but nobody has 100%. So this sealing of vision prophecy it's not needed anymore. They're gone. As of September 22nd, 8073, based on this timeline, September 22nd, 8073, that was their last day. All right, John 6:44 applied that day. Alrighty, so hopefully you'll have a deeper appreciation after I show this to you, a clear understanding. Just one thing leads to another, There's no breaks, no gaps. All right. Anyway, thank you very much, and you'll have access to some of the material in the description below. Anyway, you have a great day.